This country was already hanging on by a thread, man. Charlie Kirk just laid down his life for speaking his mind, saying what he believed in his heart. I can barely find words. But this man deserves to be honored. This man was a husband. He was a father. He was a protector. He was a provider. Charlie wasn't a martyr. He was a man of God. He stood for Jesus Christ. He stood for truth. He stood for moral values, for right versus wrong. And some evil, deranged lunatic ended him for it. And don't you dare try to spin it like this was some accident. Like this was some shot going off in celebration like the fucking mainstream media would tell you. The fuck are you talking about? They targeted him. They wanted him silenced. And now his wife and his kids are left carrying pain that they should have never known. Pain delivered by evil that has been cultivated, coaxed, and unleashed by an empire of lies called the mainstream media. This is what we've been warning you about. These people are not just activists who are having a bad day. They are demonically driven lunatics. They've abandoned reality. They've surrendered their humanity. These people act like they've got moral high ground, and then they go out and do this. These people are rotten through to their core. Okay? How else could you hold that level of hatred inside of yourself? These people are demonic entities. They've sold their souls to the devil, and they've been cheered on by every news anchor in America. Charlie was the most level-headed, articulate, clear voice of conservatism that we ever had. A man who could cut through the noise and hold a mirror to the lies. And instead of debating him, instead of trying to disprove him, they tried to erase him. And then like clockwork, the media jumps in. What do? They immediately start calling for gun control, and they say this is Trump's fault. They say this is right-wing violence. The one thing that they never mention is how it was another radical leftist pulling the trigger. They never admit that the blood is on their hands. Because the media is the mouthpiece of this fucking insane empire. The empire that wants every conservative voice crushed and destroyed. The empire that wants white Americans erased while screaming about oppression that they can't even fucking define. They ignore the situation. They ignore that situations like this and the mass shootings are primarily orchestrated by radical trans people who claim to be oppressed. And that they're the victims of this so-called world of hate. Deranged people with multiple mental illnesses. People who are living on multiple prescription mind-altering drugs. And they conveniently leave those details out while Charlie and so many other real victims fucking bleed. They leave those details out while they call for gun control. They call us racists while targeting us for who we are. They call us dangerous while they're the ones who are loading the guns. This is the racism that nobody talks about. This is the violence that no one in power will admit exists. And make no mistake, this wasn't just one unhinged lunatic. Charlie Kirk was more than a commentator. He was a brother and a friend to millions who never even met him. He stood tall while the rest of the world bent the knee. And for that, they ended him. Pray for Charlie. Pray for his wife, Erica. Pray for his children. And pray for this country, because if we stay silent while they end leaders like this, what comes next will be darker than anything we've ever seen.